Hello, it's Neil Clark from St Giles Church. I don't know how many of you have children and grandchildren, but they get to a certain age when they start the why system. One of my grandchildren has got it off to an industry and asks me why about everything, about once a minute. And I have to think of a suitable answer. Some of the questions are very simple because they're very young. But I wonder what will happen when they get that bit older and start to ask the difficult questions. Why do people go hungry? Why can't everybody have clean water? Why do some children in other countries not get the chance to go to school? What do you think I should answer them? Oh, it's all to do with the way the countries are run. It's all to do with money. Well, it is to do with money. It's to do with the fact that the world doesn't share money. And many nations keep most of it for themselves. I mean, when you consider that we are the sixth richest nation in the world, and we know that 1 in 20 adults will run out of food before the end of the week, and that food banks are struggling because the donations aren't coming in, I wonder what it's like in those really, really poor countries. But then again, we don't like to think about that, do we? Well, perhaps governments should. Perhaps you should look at what we do and decide whether we're doing is the right thing. Now, I'm not a political person, but it amazed me that a figure came up of how much military spending is being done by the top 10 military spending countries in the world. And every year they spend $1,480 billion on military hardware and equipment. Most of them aren't at war. Most of them don't actually need that much. How much do the top 10 countries in the world give on aid? Well, there is aid giving, but the total aid giving for the top 10 countries in the world is 133 billion. So not even 10%. Perhaps we haven't got our priorities right. Perhaps we need to start small. Perhaps we need to look at our local community and think, what can we do to help? Now, some of you will be struggling. We know that. But those of us who aren't struggling may be able to help. Our church is able to give some food to people who are struggling. We've got inside our community centre a little stall where people can come and collect things, bits of food and supplies for the home, because we want to reach out. Perhaps we've got to change attitude. Perhaps we've got to look wider than ourselves and even wider than our own town. If we all started doing a little bit more, perhaps it would influence government, and they would do a lot more, and the world would change. God gave us enough food, clean water, and resources for everyone. Let's make it happen. Let's make it now. So if you can help someone, please do. It doesn't have to be financial. It can be just showing care by calling on somebody who's lonely. Let's make this a caring and sharing community. Let's make this a place that people regard well. Let's make Desborough a wonderful place to be. Amen.